Hello everyone, Boss Tutorial is back, and today we'll be talking about lists, tuples, and as well as dictionaries. We'll be talking about their differences and as well as how to declare them and use them on your program or your code. But before we proceed further, I wanted to give you a quick recap of what we had discussed before. So we talked about the basics of Python, how to use the print method, and how to declare variables. And then if you wanted to check that video out, I'll be leaving the link on the description below, and as well as within the other video that I've made, which is how to use the looping statements, which is a for loop and as well as the while loop. Alright, now let's go ahead and proceed further in our tutorial right here. So as you can see, I had to declare three variables right here named a list, a tuple, and as well as a dict. So that's a dictionary. So for this one, a list, as you can see, the difference is how I actually open them and then close them up. So on list, as you can see, I use a bracket or a square bracket right there, and in our tuple I use a parenthesis. Now on our dictionary I use a curly brace. So pretty much that's it. That's not all. It's the difference of the list, tuple, and as well as a dictionary. To give you further details, a list is basically a list of elements. It could be an integer or a string. A string, no matter any data type that you can imagine. For so long as they are the same, you can put them on one list. So basically, a list is a list of elements that is mutable. Basically, you can change them and change the value, append the value, remove some value, or some sort of things like that. And a tuple is a immutable. Basically, you can't change anything what's inside the tuple unless you change the source code itself. And you can't remove anything, you can't append anything, you can't change anything, basically. But why do I have to use tuples if they can't be changed? So I'll be just using the list itself. If you are creating a program that needs to have a protected data, you can use tuples because they are write protected. Basically, you can't change that. Whatever is inside it, that's it. You can't remove anything. You can't put or append anything from that. So you use tuple for that instance. So if you wanted to create a program that is write protected, use the tuple. And also tuple is faster than list. So basically tuple uses lesser memory compared to the list. So if you are really sure you are using a constant list of elements, then use the tuple instead of using the list. Right now in the tuple we have the dictionary, which is a list of elements, which are lists of elements as well. However, instead of using the index 0, 1, 2, 3, it says 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. In a dictionary, instead of calling them using those kind of indices, you are calling them particularly on how you declare them. You control the index name basically in a dictionary. So putting it, so basically it's just from here I declare name, and inside my name is a string which is dietherdon, which is my name, my real name of course, and I also declare age, a variable that is named age, and inside that variable I use my age, which is 19. So it's the same thing as name is equal to dietherdon as well as age is equal to 19. It is still the same thing. It's just the same thing as this, but of course you can't call it just by name and just by age. So I'll show you how you call this variables inside the dictionary later on. But before that one, so now you got the overview of list, tuple, and as well as the dictionary. I wanted to show you how to call the value from the list and as well as from the tuple. So one thing I'm sure of is that if you wanted to just like what I told you, list and as well as tuple uses the indices 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. So in a list you used a square bracket, in tuple, you also use a square bracket. Also the same thing in the dictionary, but you'll see it later on. So let me say, for instance, I wanted to get the value of the A list, which is 3, which is on the second, and which is on the index 2. So it starts with 0, so 0, 1, 2, index 2. Now I want to get D, which is on the last index, which is 3, 0, 1, 2, 3. And then if I print this one out, the list gives me the number 3, which is on the index 2, and the tuple gives me the letter D, which is on the index 3. That's how easy it is. So if you wanted to change if you wanted to change something in a list, just like what I told you, you can change. List is immutable, so basically you can change the value inside a list. You can append, you can remove something within the list. So now you know how to how to call, how to get and retrieve the value within the list, and as well as the tuple. I wanted to show you now how to change the value within the list, since this is a mutable list of elements. So let me say, for instance, I wanted to change the 1, which is from the index 0. I wanted to change the value of our index 0 into a different number. So let me say, for instance, 9. So if I print the list, the whole list, basically it should provide me a different result. So from the original list, which is 1, 2, 3, and 4, since we changed the value of index 0, which is, by instance, 1, into 9, it should give us the result 9, 2, 3, and 4. So that's how easy it is to change the value within a list. So if you wanted to change the index 1, then just put a list index 1 is equal to 9. I can do it as well. I can add another one, a list 3, which is number 4, is equal to 0, and then as you can see, it's 1, 9, 3, 4. So just to see the changes, I'll print it. So print them out all. So from this one, we changed the index 1, which is 2, to 9. Now we got 1, 9, 3, and 4. Now again, I try to change the index 3, which is 4. Now it's 0. Now it returns as 1, 9, 3, 0. So it still retains the changes that we had made with the previous code. Alright, so now you know how to how to change something into your list, and you know for in fact that you can change it. Now let's go ahead and check the tuple. Now on your tuple, basically just like what I told you can't change it. So if we do the same thing as what we did in our list, I wanted to change the index 1 into, let me say for instance, a n. If I print it, I'm really sure that this will be giving us an error. So I just wanted to show you how it looks like. So as you can see, tuple object does not support item assignment. Basically, you're just trying to change it. It doesn't support item assignment. It doesn't support append or pop or removing any of sort of. Just like what I told you, tuples are immutable. They can be used as a, if you wanted to write protected list of elements, you can use the tuple, and as well as it's faster compared to the lists. Now, what if you wanted to change something? You really needed to change something in your tuple, but then again, you wanted it to be a tuple. So you want to convert it first from tuple into list. So a tuple is equal to list. So you'll be using the list function to convert it into to convert the tuple into a list. So a tuple. Now you can, change, because the tuple is now a list. It's not, your tuple is not a tuple anymore, but then again, it's a list, because a tuple is equal to list a tuple. So you're successful with converting it into a list. Now to check it, I would like to print the tuple again. And as you can see right here, it uses the brackets or the square brackets now, which basically means that this one is a list already. Now let's add or change the value inside our list named a tuple is equal to n. Now if I print my tuple, now if I print the a tuple, which is a list by now, it shows me the a, n, c, and d. Now, you know, you just wanted to change it one time, and then, you know, on your whole code, you just wanted to change it at one time and then bring it back into the tuple again. So, you know, what you just need to do is to convert it back into a tuple. And then print it out. Now, as you can see, this is a tuple now, which contains a, n, c, and d. And since this is a tuple now, it'll be faster for you to retrieve the data, and now it's write protected, so everything will be safe in your program. Now I won't be discussing that much in our dictionary, just like what I told you, since this is a different kind of topics. You know, list and tuple will be really useful into your program, but dictionary can be really useful in your future program as well. Now, for you to print out for you to call name in a list of dictionary, what you just basically need to do is to call them using the brackets as well. Just the same thing with the list and as well as the tuple. But first, I have to put down the name of my dictionary, which is a dict, and then from there, I wanted to call name. And that's how you do it. Now just print it out, and as you can see right here, it provides me my name, which is Tuple. So same thing as well. If I wanted to print my age, what I just basically need to do is to write down the name of that dictionary. I mean the variable name, which is age, inside the dictionary, and it'll be giving me that one. So if I wanted to add on my dictionary, you know, I'll just have to add something right here. So I'm gonna say, for instance, gender. So say M. And then if you print out the whole dictionary, so I print out the whole dictionary. Right here you can see we got a name, which is my name, age, and as well as the gender. So apart from adding it from the from the code itself, let me say for instance you add it on your code here, which is what I did on my gender. So if you wanted to add something on your dictionary, you can do this. You have to declare the name basically instead of using the so this is the name of the index basically. So let me say for instance address equals, so I add the address on my dictionary, and then I wanted to add my address from there. So from that moment, so if I if I run this program, it should show me that the gender is added, which is I manually added in my code. Now the address is added as well, as you can see right here. So I can just add a new array of lists or a tuple or some sort of things like that on the dictionary. So the dictionary is really dynamic. You can use a list or a tuple or any variable of sort. So this is just basically how you use the list, tuple, and as well as the dictionary. We've also talked about a difference. So the list uses a square bracket, a tuple uses a parenthesis, and a dictionary uses a curly braces. And just a quick recap of lists is basically a mutable. You can change it for whatever you want. You can add something or remove something, or and on a tuple, it is basically immutable, which is basically you can't remove something, edit something. So you wanted to use it if you know, for a write protected program or some sort of. So also it is a lot faster compared to the list. So if you're really sure that you're going to use it as a constant, or the list of elements is really constant, then go ahead and use the tuple. Now we also talked about a dictionary, which instead of using the indices 0, 1, 2, 3 and so on, you need to name your own index. And so that's it, and that will be all for today. If you wanted to learn something more or in specific, you can just comment down on the video below, and also don't forget to click the subscribe and like button. So yeah, peace out.